The planet Varelia was known across many star systems as the Unbreakable World. For centuries, its mighty shields and fierce warriors had kept all enemies at bay. No one had ever set foot on its surface in war and lived to tell the tale. Its towering cities were made of shimmering crystal, and its forests glowed softly under twin suns. The Varelians, led by their proud Queen Saravina, believed they were invincible, but that was before the humans came. Commander Alex Carter stood at the bridge of the human warship Resolute, watching the final battle unfold through the large viewing window. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. After years of careful planning and many battles, they had finally broken through Varelia's defenses. The human fleet had pushed past the outer shields, and now the ground forces were landing. Alex knew this day was the turning point. It was the moment when humanity would prove that no world was beyond their reach. But more than that, he hoped to show that strength was not only in weapons, but in the choices they made. The planet's surface was a dazzling sight, vast cities of crystal towers and wide streets crowded with strange, alien machines and creatures. Smoke rose here and there from places hit by human attacks, but much of the city remained intact. The human soldiers moved with care, avoiding unnecessary destruction. In the palace high above the city, Queen Saravina stood by a wide window, looking down at the battlefield. Her face was strong, but inside her heart, fear and anger swirled. She had fought for her people all her life. She had led them through wars, and always they had won. Now she watched as her world slipped through her fingers. The alarms in the palace were loud and urgent. Her advisors urged her to flee, but she refused. This was her home. This was her duty. Suddenly, a message came from the human commander. Queen Saravina, this is Commander Alex Carter, the voice spoke calmly through the palace communication system. I am here to offer peace. Lay down your arms and no harm will come to you or your people. The queen's lips pressed into a hard line. She expected threats or demands, not an offer like this. She paused, then replied, Commander Carter, your soldiers have destroyed much of my world. Why should I trust your words? Alex's answer was simple. Because I see a strong leader who cares for her people. Because I believe we can build a better future together, not through war, but through understanding. Saravina looked out once more over the city and then slowly nodded. She sent the order to her soldiers to stand down. The humans entered the palace with caution. Alex was the first to meet her face to face. He was not like the conquerors she had heard about. He did not wear a cruel smile or raise a weapon. Instead, he bowed his head slightly in respect. Your Majesty, Alex said. I am Commander Alex Carter. I have no desire to destroy your people. We want peace. Saravina studied him carefully. She could see the truth in his eyes, but could she trust this human? Could she trust anyone after so many years of war? You have defeated. Yes, Commander, she said finally. What do you want from me? Not to take your throne, not to break your spirit. I want us to find a way for humans and Varelians to live in peace. I want to learn from you, and you from us. The queen's heart felt heavy but hopeful. This was not the end she expected. Maybe it was a new beginning. Over the next days, Alex and Saravina met many times. They spoke about their worlds, their people, and their hopes for the future. The queen began to see the humans not as enemies, but as possible allies, yet deep inside she worried. Not everyone on her planet would accept this peace. Not everyone on the human side would agree either, but for now, the war was over. As the stars shone bright above Varelia, two leaders from very different worlds faced each other not as enemies, but as partners in a fragile new hope. After the fall of Varelia, the world was quiet but uneasy. The war had ended, but a new challenge had begun. Queen Saravina was not locked away in a prison as many had expected. Instead, she was kept in a special residence within the human-controlled city, treated with respect but watched closely. She was called a diplomatic guest. But everyone knew she was still a prisoner. Saravina spent her days in the grand halls of the palace, surrounded by human guards. She missed her own throne room, her people, and the freedom to walk the streets. without watching her back, but she refused to show weakness. Her proud spirit remained strong. Commander Alex Carter visited her often. At first, their meetings were tense and full of suspicion. Saravana did not trust him, and Alex knew that trust could not be forced. Still, he believed that peace could grow if they understood each other. One afternoon, Alex arrived with a small gift, a delicate flower from Earth. It was simple but beautiful. Saravana raised an eyebrow, but accepted it silently. "This is a symbol of peace on my home planet," Alex explained. "I want you to know that I am serious about ending the hatred between our worlds." Saravana held the flower carefully. It reminded her that even in the darkest times, small things could bring hope. Days turned into weeks, and the Queen and the Commander spoke more often. They shared stories of their childhoods, their dreams and fears. Saravana told them about Varelia's rich history and her people's love for their land. Alex spoke of Earth's struggles and its desire to protect its future. Slowly, walls began to fall, but outside the palace, the world was not as kind. Many Varelians could not forgive the humans for what they had done. They whispered among themselves, calling the Queen a traitor for speaking with the enemy. Some planned rebellions. Others refused to obey orders from the new rulers. On the human side, some soldiers and leaders saw Saravana as a prize or a threat. They doubted that a queen who once led a fierce army could change her ways. There were voices that wanted to remove her from power forever. One day, during a meeting in the palace, Saravana's trusted advisor Lauren came to her with news. "Your Majesty, there are plans to arrest you again. Some within the human government do not want peace. They believe we are weak." Saravana's face hardened. "Then we must prove them wrong. Peace will not come from fear or force. It will come from trust." Alex overheard the conversation and promised to protect her. "No one will harm you while I am here. We will face this together." Despite the danger, Saravana found herself looking forward to their meetings. Alex listened to her without judgment. He respected her ideas and treated her like a person, not a defeated enemy. One evening, as the twin suns set over the city, Saravana stood on the balcony of her quarters, looking out at the skyline. Alex joined her quietly. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said. She nodded. "It is different from home, but there is beauty here too." Alex hesitated for a moment, then said, "I never imagined I would find a friend in the Queen of a world I helped conquer." Saravana smiled softly. "Neither did I. Maybe this is the start of something new for both our people." But even as hope grew, both knew the path ahead was not easy. Old enemies still lurked in the shadows. Trust was fragile, and the future of two very different worlds depended on the choices they would make. In the quiet night, with stars shining above, two leaders stood side by side, bound not by chains, but by a growing respect that neither expected. Queen Saravana sat alone in her private chambers, the soft light of the twin moons spilling through the tall windows. Her mind was heavy with questions she could not easily answer. She was a proud queen, a warrior, a leader of her people. Yet, here she was under the watchful eyes of her former enemy. Commander Alex Carter had become a regular visitor to her world, not as a conqueror, but as a friend. This confused her. How could the man who led the invasion now show kindness? How could her heart, trained to hold only hate and suspicion, begin to soften? The room's door slid open quietly. Alex stepped inside, carrying a simple book filled with stories from Earth. "I thought you might like this," he said gently. Saravana raised an eyebrow, but allowed him to approach. She had grown to expect unexpected things from this human. Opened the book to a page and began reading aloud, telling her a story about bravery and hope. His voice was calm and sincere, and for a moment, the walls Saravana had built around her feelings seemed to lower. After the story ended, she looked at him carefully. "You tell stories as if you believe in happy endings." Alex smiled softly. "I do. I believe even the darkest times can have light." Saravana sighed. "I want to believe that too. But my people have suffered greatly. They will not easily accept peace, especially with humans." Alex nodded. "I understand, but sometimes change takes time. We must be patient." Their conversations became a bridge between two very different worlds. Alex learned about Varelia's traditions, its struggles, and its dreams. Saravana learned about Earth's history, its mistakes, and its hopes, yet the closer they grew, the more dangerous their bond became. News arrived that a group of Varelian nobles planned to challenge the Queen's authority. They saw her talks with the humans as betrayal. They spread rumors that she was giving away secrets, that she was no longer fit to rule. Saravana confronted the nobles during a council meeting. "I am your queen," she said firmly. "I have not forgotten my duty to protect you. But if we continue this path of hate, we will lose everything." The room was filled with angry voices. Some shouted, others whispered, but a few looked uncertain. Meanwhile, on the human side, some military leaders questioned Alex's decisions. "Why do you trust her?" they asked. "She is still an enemy." Alex stood his ground. "Because I see a leader who wants peace. Because I believe in humanity's strength to forgive and to build." He felt the weight of their doubts but refused to back down. One night, after a long day of meetings and disagreements, Alex and Saravana met in the palace garden. The air was cool and the stars above twinkled silently. Saravana looked at him, her eyes filled with both strength and vulnerability. "You have risked much by standing with me. Why do you do this?" Alex took a deep breath. "Because I see more than a queen or a soldier. I see someone who never gave up, someone who fights for her people even when all seems lost." She smiled faintly. "You make it hard to hate you." Alex's smile softened. "Maybe that is the point." As the days passed, their bond grew stronger, but so did the challenges. The Queen's pride battled with her growing feelings. Alex's heart struggled with the war's cost and the hope of a new future. Both knew that trust was fragile and that their connection could bring either healing or destruction, but for now, they chose to believe in something better. They chose to believe in each other. In a world torn by war and fear, two leaders found a rare and fragile hope, the hope that even the deepest wounds could heal. When hearts dared to open, the palace was quiet in the early morning, but beneath its calm walls, danger stirred. Queen Saravana was recovering slowly from a recent illness, but her mind remained sharp. She knew the peace they were building was fragile, too fragile. Commander Alex Carter had been visiting her more often. Their meetings were no longer just about diplomacy. They shared moments of honesty and trust. Saravana found herself leaning on him in ways she never expected. One morning, as Alex entered the chamber, he noticed a change. Saravana looked pale, her hand trembling slightly. "Are you well, Your Majesty?" Alex asked with concern. She gave a weak smile. "I will be. But there are whispers in the palace, whispers of betrayal." Alex frowned. "I have heard rumors. Too, someone is trying to undo the peace." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Guards rushed into the room, shouting warnings. The palace had been attacked. Saravana stood quickly, her queen's strength returning. "To the command center, now." They moved swiftly through the grand halls where soldiers were already mobilizing. Outside, chaos reigned. A small group of attackers had managed to enter the palace. Aiming for the queen, Alex took command, directing the guards to protect Saravana and secure the building. The attackers were skilled but few in number. The palace defenses, though caught off guard, soon pushed them back. After the battle, Alex found Saravana in her chambers, shaken but unharmed. "They wanted you dead," he said quietly. "Someone inside must have helped them." Saravana nodded grimly. "Yes, I do not know who, but it is a traitor close to us." Alex's mind raced. This was more than a simple attack. It was a warning. The forces against peace were growing. Bolder, determined to find the truth, Alex ordered a careful investigation. Trusted guards and advisors were questioned. Secrets were uncovered, hidden messages, secret meetings in the dead of night. One name appeared again and again, Lauren, Saravana's old advisor. Alex was shocked. Lauren had been loyal to the queen for years. Why would he betray her? When confronted, Lauren denied everything, but evidence was clear. He had been in contact with rebel groups who opposed the humans. Saravana was heartbroken. "I trusted him," she whispered. Alex placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Sometimes even those closest to us can choose the wrong path, but we will not let this destroy what we have built. The queen agreed but warned, this betrayal is only the beginning. We must be careful. As days passed, the tension in the palace grew. Seravina moved with caution, watching those around her. Alex stayed by her side, a constant support. One evening, as they walked in the palace gardens, Seravina spoke softly. Commander, why do you stay? You have every reason to leave. This place is dangerous. Alex looked at her with quiet strength. Because I believe in you. Because I believe what we have is worth protecting. Seravina's eyes glistened with emotion. You are different from the others, Alex. You see me not as a conquered queen, but as a person. He smiled gently. Because you are more than a title or a battle, you are a leader with a heart. Their bond grew deeper with every word, every glance. But the dangers around them did not fade. One night, as Alex returned from a meeting, he found Seravina waiting in the palace library. The room was filled with soft candlelight. I want to thank you, she said, for saving me not just from enemies but from loneliness. Alex took her hand in his. You are not alone, Seravina. Not now, not ever. They stood close, the distance between them disappearing. But before anything could happen, a messenger arrived with urgent news. A rebel group was gathering outside the city, planning a large attack. Their goal was clear: to end the fragile peace and return the world to war. Alex and Seravina knew they had little time. We must prepare, Alex said firmly, for the sake of both our peoples. Seravina nodded, her queen's resolve shining. Together we will face whatever comes. As the night deepened, two leaders, one human, one alien, stood united against the shadows of betrayal and war. Their hearts were bound not by conquest, but by trust and a growing love that neither had expected. The days after the warning were tense. Both the human commanders and Varelian leaders prepared for what could be the most dangerous battle yet. The rebels were growing bolder, and the fragile peace seemed to hang by a thread. Queen Seravina and Commander Alex Carter spent every moment planning and supporting each other. They had become more than allies. They had become a source of strength for one another in a world that refused to accept their closeness. But outside the palace walls, rumors began to spread like wildfire. Whispers of the queen's friendship with the human commander turned into angry words. Some Varelians saw Seravina's trust in Alex as a betrayal of her people. Human soldiers whispered doubts about their leader's loyalty. The palace, once a place of hope, felt divided. One afternoon, Seravina sat in the great hall during a council meeting. The room was crowded with important figures from both worlds. Their faces were hard, their voices sharp. Your Majesty, a Varelian nobleman, spoke loudly. How can you stand beside the man who destroyed our cities? Who took our freedom? Your people will never accept this. Seravina's eyes met his calmly. I stand for peace, not revenge. If we continue to hate, we lose everything we fought for. A human general stood up. Commander Carter risks too. Much by supporting a queen many call a traitor. What if this alliance breaks? What if trust is misplaced? Alex rose, his voice steady. Trust is not given blindly, it is earned. I trust Seravina because she chooses peace over war. The room fell silent, but the tension remained. After the meeting, Seravina retreated to her chambers, her heart heavy. She did not want to rule a divided kingdom. Alex found her there later. The palace is full of doubt, he said softly. But I believe in us and what we can build. She looked at him, her eyes searching. Do you think it is possible for two worlds so different to come together? Alex smiled. I do, because I see what we can be, not just what we were. Their words hung in the air like a promise, but the challenges did not wait. Rebels attacked a human outpost near the city, killing many soldiers. Fear spread quickly, and both sides called for stronger measures. Some demanded the queen be removed from power, blaming her for the unrest. Seravina refused to give in. She stood before her people, speaking with courage. I am your queen, she said firmly. I will never abandon peace. We must face these threats together, not tear each other apart. Her words moved some, but others remained angry. One night, as Saravina walked through the palace gardens, she was surprised to find Alex waiting for her. The stars shone brightly above them, casting a soft glow on the flowers. "Why do you come here at night?" she asked. "Because it is the only time I feel free to be myself," Alex said. "And because I wanted to see you." She smiled, feeling a warmth she had not known for a long time. They walked slowly, talking about their hopes and fears. The distance between them disappeared as they shared moments of quiet understanding. Suddenly, a group of palace guards approached, interrupting their peace. "Your Majesty, there is a message from the rebels." "They plan to attack the city during the next full moon," one guard said urgently. Saravina's face grew serious. "Then we must prepare." Alex nodded. "We will protect this city, together." But even as they spoke, Saravina knew their fight was more than just against rebels. It was against old fears, old hatreds, and the doubts that divided their worlds. She reached out and took Alex's hand. "No matter what happens," she said softly, "we face it as one." Alex squeezed her hand in return, always. In the days that followed, the Queen and the commander worked side by side, rallying their people to stand strong. Their love was a quiet force hidden from many, but powerful enough to inspire those who believed in a better future. As the full moon rose, casting silver light over the city, two hearts beat in unison, hopeful, brave, and ready to face whatever came next. The night air was cool and quiet under the full moon's light. But beneath the calm surface, the city buzzed with tension. Rebels who refused to accept the new peace were gathering their forces. Their goal was clear: to destroy the fragile alliance between humans and Varelians and to return the world to endless war. Queen Saravina and Commander Alex Carter stood together in the command center, surrounded by maps and reports. Soldiers moved swiftly, preparing defenses. The city was ready, but the danger weighed heavily on their hearts. Saravina looked at Alex with a mixture of fear and hope. This could be the last chance for the old ways to fight back. If they succeed, all we have worked for will be lost. Alex placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We will not let that happen. Together we are stronger than any enemy." The Queen nodded, drawing strength from his words. As the first rebels marched toward the city walls, Saravina made a bold decision. She would lead a group of trusted warriors to stop the attack before it reached the heart of the city. Alex insisted on joining her, unwilling to let her face the danger alone. Their small group moved silently through the dark forest outside the city. The sounds of footsteps and whispered commands filled the air. Saravina's heart pounded not from fear, but from the weight of what was to come. Suddenly, the rebels appeared in the clearing ahead. They were fierce and angry, shouting battle cries and waving weapons. But when they saw Saravina and Alex standing together, something changed. The rebels hesitated. Saravina stepped forward and raised her voice. "Stop. This fight will only bring pain to both our people. We can choose a different path." One of the rebel leaders, a tall man named Draven, sneered. "You are a traitor, Queen." "You have sided with our enemies." Alex stepped beside her. "I am not your enemy, and neither is Saravina. We want peace, not more war." The tension was thick, but Saravina's words began to break through. Some rebels lowered their weapons, unsure what to do. Others still looked ready to fight. Then, from behind the trees, a sudden attack came. A group of hidden fighters rushed forward, trying to surprise both sides. In the chaos, Saravina fought fiercely, protecting her people and Alex. The rebels, shocked by the attack, joined forces with the Queen and Commander to defend themselves. When the fighting ended, the attackers were defeated. The rebels who had doubted Saravina's words saw her true courage and commitment. Slowly, the anger in their eyes softened. Draven approached, breathing heavily. "Perhaps we were wrong. Maybe there is hope." Saravina extended her hand. "Join us. Help us build a future where none must die for hate." Draven looked at Alex, then back at Saravina. After a long moment, he shook her hand. Back in the city, news of the unexpected alliance spread quickly. The people saw their queen standing beside a human, not as a captive, but as a partner. Hope returned to many hearts that night in the quiet of the palace. Saravina and Alex shared a rare moment of peace. They sat by the window watching the stars. "You risked so much today," Saravina said softly. "I risk everything for you," Alex replied. "For your people, for our future." She reached out and took his hand, feeling warmth and strength. "You have changed everything, Alex, not just with your words or actions, but with your heart," Alex smiled, leaning closer. "And you have shown me what it means to truly lead with courage and love." They sat together in silence, the distance between two worlds growing smaller with every beat of their hearts. The dawn brought a new day, a day where old enemies became friends, and where love bloomed in the light of a brighter future. The sky over Varelia was clear and bright as the people gathered in the grand square of the capital city. It was a day like no other, a day that marked a new beginning for two worlds once divided by fear and war. Queen Saravina stood proudly on the raised platform beside Commander Alex Carter. Around them were leaders and citizens from both the Varelian and human worlds. The tension and fear that had once gripped the city had softened, replaced by hope and cautious optimism. Saravina looked at the crowd and then at Alex. She felt the weight of her duty, but also the lightness of a future she had only dared to dream of. Alex caught her gaze and gave her a small, reassuring smile. Together, they raised their hands to unveil the new treaty, a symbol of peace, unity, and cooperation. Alex spoke first, his voice strong and clear. "Today we stand not as conqueror and conquered, but as partners. Together we will build a future where all our people can live in peace and prosperity." Saravina followed, her voice filled with warmth and resolve. "Our worlds have known too much pain, but from that pain we have learned the power of understanding. Let this day be remembered as the moment we chose hope over hate." The crowd erupted in applause. Children laughed and played, soldiers lowered their weapons, and leaders shook hands. It was a scene that would be remembered for generations later. Away from the crowd, Saravina and Alex walked through the palace gardens. The soft breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. For the first time in a long time, Saravina felt truly free, not as a queen locked in her duty, but as a woman who had found something precious. Alex stopped and took her hand gently. "You once said I conquered your world, but now I believe you have conquered my heart." Saravina smiled, her eyes shining. "And you have healed mine." Their hands found each other naturally, fingers weaving together as if they had always belonged. The peace they had fought for was more than a treaty. It was a bond between two hearts and two peoples. In the months that followed, Varelia began to change. The scars of war slowly healed. Humans and Varelians worked side by side to rebuild cities, share knowledge, and celebrate their cultures. Trade routes opened, schools were founded, and new friendships blossomed. Saravina and Alex became symbols of this new era. Their story inspired others to believe that even the deepest wounds could be healed by trust and love. One evening, as the twin suns set, Saravina stood on the balcony of her palace, looking out over the city she had fought so hard to save. Alex joined her, wrapping an arm around her waist. "Do you ever think about how far we have come?" she asked softly. "All the time," Alex replied. "And I am grateful every day that we chose peace." Saravina leaned into him. "The future is ours to write, not with weapons, but with hope." Alex kissed her forehead gently. Together, their story was no longer one of conquest or war. It was a story of unity, strength, and love, proof that even in the darkest times, humanity's greatest power was its heart. And so, on a world once broken by battle, two leaders stood united, guiding their peoples toward a future not written by war, but by the promise of peace.